The Vernier Caliper by Elizabeth Walker. The Vernier scale was invented by the French scientist Pierre Vernier in approximately 1631. Pierre Vernier lived from 1580 to 1637. Vernier calipers utilize a vernier scale in either inches or centimeters. The purpose of these vernier calipers is to measure things more accurately than a typical measurement device. The main scale on a vernier caliper is like a ruler. The secondary scale, the vernier, slides parallel to the main scale. There can be a third scale that makes the caliper even more accurate. A vernier scale utilizes an auxiliary control mechanism that allows for measurements more precise than those obtained by other measurement devices. These calipers are useful for measuring inside and outside distances, including depth. They are especially handy in measuring small distances very accurately. I have two different vernier calipers to show you. One is accurate to 1/100th of an inch using a sliding scale. The second vernier caliper is accurate to 1/1000th of an inch, utilizing both a sliding scale and a secondary vernier on a dial. A caliper must first be set to 0. Then we're ready to measure. This particular caliper has many little dials that help you, many little settings. We have a dial here. We have a little screw tab here that allows us to set this to 0, loosen it up, and we calibrate it to 0 and then tighten it back down again. We have a finger dial here that allows us to move the caliper in and out. And we have a screw tab here that allows us to lock the measurement in place. Our initial measurement is on the bottom, and this is in inches. And then our dial will give us, and this dial also has tenths of inches. This will give us hundredths of inches and thousandths of inches. Our large jaws measure outside diameter. These small jaws measure inside diameter, and then we also have a depth measurement gauge on the end. So we can measure things that are very small, such as this baby. We could measure this baby's head. I want to lock that measurement in place so that I don't lose it, and then I take a look at my measurement gauge. I haven't reached an inch yet, so we are at 0.6. Somewhere between 0.6 and 0.7, I go to my secondary gauge. It tells me I'm at 0.68, and then I can measure, I can read off the dial that we are at 0.68, looks like 0.683, plus or minus the next measurement increment. We can also measure outside and inside diameter. I loosen up my sliding scale. I can measure the outside of this piece of PVC pipe. Alright, I am at 1 inch and a little bit more, but I'm not yet to 0.1 inches, so I'm at 0.1, I'm at 1.055. I can also measure the inside diameter of this piece of pipe. Loosen up my scale. Making sure that I'm at the widest part of the pipe. Again, I'm not quite to 1 inch yet, so I'm at 0.805. If I want to use the part of the vernier caliper that measures depth, it also works from the dial that I move with my thumb. And for example, I have Mr. Potato Head here. Mr. Potato Head has a nasty gouge in the side of his head. Oh dear, Mr. Potato Head, how deep is your gouge? So we can take our vernier caliper and we can measure Mr. Potato Head's difficulty that he has there. Make sure we're loosened. That's how deep Mr. Potato Head's gouge is, and on the gauge it tells us that we're not to an inch yet. We are at 0.8, 2, 1, and we could almost extrapolate to another 5. So a vernier caliper uses a mechanism to make a very accurate measurement. And this particular vernier caliper measures outside inside and depth. Now, let's review a little bit of what we've done. Vernier calipers utilize a vernier scale in either inches or centimeters. The main scale is like a ruler. The secondary scale, the vernier, slides parallel to the main scale, and there can be a third scale that makes the caliper even more accurate. A vernier scale utilizes an auxiliary control mechanism that allows for measurements more precise than those obtained by other measurement devices. These calipers are useful for measuring inside and outside distances, including depth. They are especially handy in measuring very small distances accurately. Thank you. That concludes our demonstration of the vernier caliper. Here are some references about the vernier scale and vernier calipers. I wish to thank my camera crew, Mr. Rick Walker, for his assistance and for the use of the vernier calipers from his toolbox.